Bonjour Ghela, comment ça va
Bonjour
aujourd'hui?
Christophe. C'est super, moi je vais bien, puis toi?
Ben, ça va pas mal, ouais. Tu veux parler français ou anglais?
L'audience parle quoi en fait?
No, it's going to be in English, I'm just teasing you. I know you can do it though. That's
If we needed
most
to.
impressive.
If
Yeah.
we need to.
Ghela can speak a fabulous French, so I'm so happy to catch up with you. We've known each other for a long time virtually, but then we started meeting more and more often in the last 6-8 months.
Finally.
Last time in Singapore, I
Yes.
believe, at Money2020.
At Money2020.
And now we're Money2020 Europe. Here
It's
we go.
like it becomes a thing. We're looking forward to the next one. It
Las
should just
Vegas
be
next.
every single Money2020 we should have a rendezvous.
But let's meet in between as well, because it's a long time between
Fair
events.
enough, fair enough.
Okay.
But it's nice to look forward to a hot date.
So it's like, it is. So we here, I heard that you're very busy. I'm not too surprised due to your credentials and your understanding and knowledge of the fintech world.
Very kind.
Could you please share more about all those activities, panels, speeches, workshops?
Yeah, it's actually a really busy 2020 for me, and I'm really excited about it. The basis of what I'm doing is with the Rise Up program. So it's the Women Empowerment,
Yes.
the network, and I've had the pleasure of meeting the cohort and spending a good deal of time with them yesterday afternoon. And we'll be back for some mentor sessions and some one-on-ones, and I'm really loving the program. So it's been a big part. Also talking about KYC as a public good, talking about dispelling the myths of innovation and sending them to Room 101, talking identity and Regtech, sharing the track, and then also having a really fun, robust debate around the hypothesis that fintech is a waste of time and money. So we'll see what happens with that, but those are kind of the things I'm focusing on. A little identity, a little compliance and Regtech, fintech in general, should we have it, should we not, innovation, and let's actually build a network and empower people to change the world.
Decently busy agenda indeed.
It's a big agenda.
It's funny actually you mentioned that, the fintech, all the shenanigans around fintech, which is a buzzword that we know, but I caught up with quite a few friends here, and people I haven't seen yet, but the likes of Dave Birch with his open banking
exactly,
session, which is hysterical. Not the content, but just the title. David is a great guy. I took to Nectarios as well yesterday, and again he's got a view on innovation and the lack or the very limited, impact innovation team had in big corporations. So again, I think there's a lot of synergies there. Yeah. What's your view on that? Because you're an expert in fintech and regtech, as you mentioned, which is a big space nowadays as well.
Well, it's funny because I'm taking a perspective. What we're doing with our discussion is each of us have a perspective to take. Mine is the regulatory economist. So looking at the macro level impact on the general economic well-being of the industry and what industries it touches. In terms of actual impact in changing financial services for what they are, that's a different matter entirely. Is it about changing finance fundamentally, or is it about driving operational efficiencies? And there are limitations with the efficiencies. If you're trying to change the model, then it's a different discussion. So trying to actually understand the nuance between fundamental change versus operational efficiency drive to zero. And I think there are merits for both, but limits in the merits in some in particular.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't have a black and white view on this one, but there are limits to it. And the purpose of fintech has not been clearly defined. There is no ethos around it from the industry that directs us in a way that says this is where we find the productivity, this is where we find the biggest financial impact, or this is how the money is best used and amplified, and we can grow wealth for more than just the investor and the institution.
How can we change that then? Who can lead that? Is it which entity? Is it what level then, you reckon, could help accelerate that shift and really make a meaningful difference?
I think it's a really interesting nexus of crossroads for a number of different industries. It's big tech, it's government, it's policy, it's regulation, and it's an agreement with and across the banks themselves that they're willing to change the nature of money and what money is. Not just how it moves, but how we understand finance and extend the access to finance to more. So better inclusion, bigger markets, and changing the way the traditional view and format of securitizing assets and commodities and the symbol of money actually works. So how do we fundamentally change the nature of capital? And it's every party actually having to agree. I don't think there's one primary stakeholder. I think it's a conglomerate of stakeholders.
Well, hence the immense inertia, actually.
That's precisely it. It's really
Too
hard.
many different
It's the
players
Titanic,
at the table,
right?
yeah.
It's all of the Titanic, right? Everyone is a level of that boat, and trying to
Exactly.
get it to shift before it hits an iceberg, which is the next recession that's coming. It's a major effort.
So you're a Regtech expert,
Sure.
unarguably, right? First step back. I mean, and I used to work in KYC a long time ago, like almost 17 years ago in London, believe me or not, and anti-fraud and stuff like that. What I'm most interested in personally with KYC, with Regtech, is the ability not so much, of course, to streamline and to automate a lot of checkings in the back end and facilitate and drive operational efficiency for banks, but it's the impact you have on the customer experience, making it easy, making it frictionless, We forgot about that zero moment of truth, that we talk about in retail when we order something. You did a great job maybe on the branding side, great. Well, I'm hooked now. Now I want to register, I ask for the app or whatever, and I'm like, it takes there's a lot of friction. It's not at all the same experience that you provide me, that you offered me or suggested on TV
Yeah,
or on
the onboarding is one of the, and onboarding is the first hurdle.
And Regtech
right?
has the power to change
It absolutely
that.
does. If you look at certain banks that are doing it really well, and I'll call Pepper out. Pepper is a really, really fascinating onboard. So it's an Israeli bank, purely digital stack, and they have
Matthias, next. Sorry.
unbelievable.
Exactly. Let's capture that, please. I want to do it as well.
Come here.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I see
You
the
never
both
looked
of
as
you,
good
you
as
know.
that. So happy.
Yeah, well, it's. I'm so really. I'm a
You're
free.
free.
Man.
You're
I'm a
free.
man.
I know.
You smell lovely too.
Look at that.
That was worth it.
How come you're looking younger and younger? Actually,
I'm so stinky. Having the two of you around me.
That's more Ghela than me. I can't take the credit, but I wish.
You're here until tomorrow? Both
No,
of you?
tonight.
Tonight?
But let's catch up later, please.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
I'm on stage at 12.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, maybe in the afternoon. No. Yeah.
Fine.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Matthias.
sweetie.
No, anytime.
No, it's in the video. We're keeping it in.
We're keeping it. Yeah. No, we are. I'm serious. It's so good to catch up with Matthias last time.
This happened last year too. Again, 5 different people coming up during filming.
Seriously.
I was like, you can see the cameras now.
It's the power of Ghela. She attracts the right people, influencers, and Matthias. Everybody knows him, but he's an amazing guy as well.
Yeah,
Super nice,
he's
super
adorable.
knowledgeable, and he's adorable as well.
Smells delicious today.
That I can't comment, but seemed
Start
okay.
hugging people, lady. Your life will be changed.
I'm French. I'm kinesthetic. I like to touch people,
So do I.
not in an appropriate way. I need to say. I might cut that though for the video, just between you and me. So, Regtech.
Yeah, back to
I will
Regtech.
cut that.
Yeah. No, so
Please.
let's go back to this notion of KYC and onboarding as a friction point for customers, right? And Pepper, which is an Israeli bank digital stack, does it really, really well. It's instant onboarding. So it's your particular information, your photo ID, government issued, a spoofie of a live selfie, and the data administration component is orchestrated in the background very efficiently. That yes, you pass your AML and sanctions tests and all of that, and we have a nice sort of scoring on you that says yes, this is a they are who they say they are. We can onboard them, and it's done in less than 3 minutes. I remember some of my first bank account in the UK was actually Moniz. And I was sitting at level 39 at a blockchain conference, and I opened my Moniz account, and it was at that point it was a video chat, but I did it in less than 10 minutes, just so I could have an IBAN and make sure that everything was doing. And my actual other bank took a while and a couple of appointments and a liveness check in person, but Moniz, Pepper, some of the other things, just basic onboarding and being able to do identity and KYC seamlessly, instantly, and having the biometrics registered so that I can also just log into my account using my fingerprint or my face.
Yes.
That's possible, that exists already, that exists today. Number of banks have yet to implement that across the board, also for SMEs or for their corporate clients.
Of course.
And it's managing that permission. So the technology exists. It's an institutional choice whether or not they want to do an entire onboarding project. But it is fabulous for the customer because it means I know I can actually bank. I know I have an institution I can trust, and I know that they actually care about the immediacy and the pressure of my need to access and manage my money. So yes, I'm a big fan of the KYC and digital identity component.
Being fan of frictionless, yeah.
I think there has to be a little friction at some points, but not for onboarding.
On the onboarding side, Jim Maris have been talking about that topic of onboarding for years as well, back on the financial brand, so a long time ago. So thank you very much. I totally agree with you on that front. The last question, I know you're a busy woman, you're a busy speaker, highly demanded. Based on your experience, extensive experience in Fintech Regtech, according to you, in 2019, what are still the key challenges to drive and accelerate growth for a Fintech organization?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is how do I get to a commercial agreement with an organization? Part of it is the messaging. How do I actually articulate my value proposition for that particular line of business? Or how do I go beyond my immediate how of what I do and talk about the what and the why that's relevant to that particular bank segment? So part of it's messaging. I think we still have a language barrier. The other is there is no critical incentive to move to commercials, and we're stuck in a pilot mode. I love pilots. I spend my days designing pilot and experiments, and it's an amazing exercise, but there's still a missing stuff about kicking it over into immediate commercial if the pilot is successful and going straight into production after that. There's something that on the institutional side that is still a bit of a hang-up. And part of that is also the vendor management process. How does procurement see me? What is my risk profile as an emergent technology company? So there's still things that need to be fixed in terms of streamlining procurement, having a different risk appetite, or setting up a different track for different levels of risk appetite for new vendors. And then for the fintechs to actually kind of figure out how to trigger that contractual obligation into commercial. And there's still some of those mechanisms that need to be finely tuned. That's still a big impediment.
Thank you very much, Ghela. Merci beaucoup.
Thank
you for your time. And can we make a promise, like seeing each other long before, like Las Vegas?
Yes.
Ghela. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank
Take care.